Before we get into no code and what it is, I'll introduce myself. I am a former international and USA collegiate athlete. I played basketball. I grew up in the UK and played basketball with the national team, and then traveled all the way to the US to play over there at university. I was an engineer in the US, and my role was to develop, maintain, and manage technologies. I focused in the construction technology field. So I focus on drones, virtual reality, augmented reality, 3D printing, laser scanning, virtual modeling of huge stadiums and hospitals and banks and all different kinds of buildings. Some of the clients I worked with and the projects I worked on were for Blue Origin, Mercedes, Microsoft, and Citibank, some of the biggest companies in the world. Since then, I have been a freelance software developer. I have been advising startups, and I am currently a venture capital scout for the Make Up Have Fund, which is a no-code fund that supports businesses that are building tools to advance no-code, but also businesses built from no-code. I've been a hackathon expert and a no-code expert for about a year now. I've been a hackathon participant for many, many years, won lots of hackathons, lots of hackathons. I now teach hackathon as a design methodology to many organizers and people all over the world, but I also teach no code, and this is why we're here today. What is no code? I just want to make sure everybody can hear me, so just type in the chat if you can hear me okay. Anybody just type in the chat if you can hear me, because I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yes,
Okay.
Dominic.
Okay, perfect. So I'll keep going. So what is no code? So no code are a set of tools that enable you to create quick and low cost tech solutions without coding. You can create web apps, you can create native apps, you can create voice applications, you can create automations, like to automate different workflows between applications. You can create lots of different things, e-commerce stores, websites, without coding at all. Some of the tools that you can use to do this, some of the most popular ones are Bubble, Glide. We'll be going over Glide today. Adalo, Webflow, Shopify, Squarespace, Bravo, and Airtable. Some of the use cases, so people are building these for all different kinds of reasons. The reasons are so varied, but people are building food delivery sites, blogging sites, listing sites. That could be to list real estate. It can be to list events. It can be to list a whole range of things. They're building social media apps, paid member only sites, so sites where you can only access content or the community if you're a paid member, online courses, job boards, and marketplaces. What we're going to build a mental health app for Uganda students. Some of the things that we're going to learn how to do today is how to create a database with Google Sheets, how to create a user interface with Glide, how to create user profiles, add content, create user permissions, and how to add a journaling feature in our web app. So if I just jump to an example of what the app will look like. So we probably won't get this far because we'll probably be going slower than the time permits. But if I sign in, again, this was all made without coding.
Yes, Dominic. Please continue.
Yeah, it's just loading. I'm not sure if you can see. It's loading, so when I actually go to my app, it takes me to the homepage. It knows who I am. It says, "Hello, Dominic. Are you ready to start your mental health journey?" It shows some featured videos. It shows some featured organizations, and I only have one organization. I can go to the videos tab, and I can favorite a video. I can add videos. I can filter videos. So maybe I just want to see news. And it will only show me the news videos. I can also search. If I go to support, what you will be able to see when it loads, it opens a map, and it opens a map of organizations. So I can just click on the icon on the map, click here, and it opens the organization. They don't have a website, but I connected their email. So if I click that, it will open their email and that allow me to send an email to them directly. I have a profile and I can edit my profile. We won't do this now. In this particular app, I've actually added a journaling feature where people can update their journal. They can say, today was okay. This is my third entry. And maybe I'll say today is just okay.
Is it okay if you share a screen?
Can you not see my screen?
No, we're not seeing your screen.
What? It says I'm presenting to everyone.
No, just a.
If you have more than one screen, can anyone else not see my screen? Google says I'm presenting to everybody.
Yeah, Dominic, we can see it. You can continue.
Okay. So I was showing you the app that we're gonna walk through. We're not gonna walk through all these features, but we're gonna walk through a lot of them. What's actually on the back end of this is a Google Sheet. So as you can see, I have my users in one tab. I have my videos in another tab. I have articles in another tab. I have organizations. I just have one organization in another tab. I have journal in another tab. And that is how Glide works. And we're going to start now. We're going to start building our own mental health app. So we're going to use Glide, and it's free. The free version will get you very far. There are paid tiers that allow you to do a lot more, but the free version will allow you to turn your idea into a working app without paying anything. What we also need to get started is a Google Sheet. So you need to have a Google account and you need to create a Google Sheet because this acts like your database. And we're going to say, before you even start in Glide, we need to prepare our backend database so Glide can have some information to interpret. So I'm going to just name this mental health app. I am going to name this first sheet videos. And the first thing I want to do, I want to give the column headers. So I want to say title. Your headers can be anything you want, but this is a good best practice to have title, description. You want an image, you want a URL, and maybe you want a category. So this is my initial headers. What I'm actually going to do, just to save time, is take some data from ones I've already prepared from my other app, and I'm just going to copy and paste that data. So as you can see, all I've done is taken these videos from YouTube. These are videos from YouTube of experts talking about mental health in Uganda. This is news. I'm actually going to remove this category, put that there. One thing that's important to notice right here is the images that I have are stored in Google Drive and shared. So what I basically did, if we go to my recent, I have a Google Drive open, and one of these images is here. So what you have to do, if you want to use an image in Glide, you have to put it in your Google Drive, click share, get the link, but you want to change it and allow anyone with the link to be able to read. And then all you have to do is copy your link into your database. You only have to do that to begin with. Afterwards, you can update directly from your app, but your app needs something to read to begin with. This URL is just a YouTube URL. So I just copied the URL of the video from YouTube. If you want to upload a video, you could upload directly from the app, or you could upload a URL from YouTube. So we have the minimum we need to start. So we're going to get started. We're going to log into Glide. And it takes you to this dashboard. And you want to click New App, Google Sheets. And what it's going to do, you have to make sure your Google Sheets is the same account that you sign in with Glide. And it's going to pull up all your sheets. And I click my sheet. I say okay. And what it's going to do is we're going to bring me to this dashboard and initiate. And as you can see, it automatically brings in the data that I already have there. I have 2 items here in my database, and it brings in 2 items in my database. So what we have here is the dashboard and the editor for Glide. On the left, we have some properties that we can adjust. On the right, we have some properties we can adjust. And at the top, we have settings we can adjust. On the left, we have tabs. So we can either, if I unhide some of these default tabs, you have chat, shopping cart. We're not going to use those, but you can actually drag tabs to the menu and it will give you a menu bar, and you can see shopping carts there now. You can hide tabs, you can show tabs. But for now, we don't need to do that. We can edit the screen directly here in the screen's features. But we're going to begin to edit this video screen and change the appearance. On the right side, you can see it has a label and it has a source. This source tells the Glide app where to get the information from. So as you can see, my sheet's name's videos here, and the source is videos. What I can do is change the tab icon, and I can do video, and it will give me some icons. And because this is the only sheet that can be seen, you can't see a menu bar at the bottom. But if we add another tab, you can see now there's 2 tabs. Videos with our updated icon and chat. But we're going to remove chat for now. What you can do here is adjust the style. So you can have it a list like this. You can change it to tiles. You can change it to calendar. That you might want to do that for events, but you will need a date in your database. You can change it to map. We're going to go over that shortly. You can change it to checklist. You can change it to cards, which is what we're going to use. You can change it to swipe, where people can swipe right and swipe left, and actions will happen. And you can actually change it to details. And details is an important screen, but we will go over that shortly. For now, we want to change this to cards. We can make additional changes to this by clicking inline list here under the screen. And now it gives us more options. The first option that it gives us is data. And this is basically telling Glide how to map the data. As you can see, image is telling us to map that to image in our database. Header is telling to map that to title. Title is telling to map that to description. Details is telling that to map that to category. You can change it to map whatever you want it to map to. I generally remove the header. I change the title to title. And I change the details to description. Now, if we keep scrolling down, we can make some amendments to the design. So what we can do is we can change the shape. We can make it bigger like that. We can make it smaller. We can make it like a square. We can make it vertical. I'm going to change it to this size. And I'm actually going to change the size to half size. And maybe I changed the card style to outline. As you can see, it removed the shadows. And I'm going to change the corners to sharp. And I actually don't like that. So what I'm going to do is change it to what I usually have, something like this. What we can do, we scroll down, we can change the text size to really small or really big or medium. I usually change the lines of text to 2 lines of text. Here for overlays, if we go back, for overlays, it gives us a couple options. We can add a tag, avatar. We can add different options. What I usually do is give it a favorite button that allows people to add this video to their favorites. I also go to caption and I usually give it a category, and you can see it's added the category here. If we keep scrolling down, we can limit how many items it shows, or we can just let it show as many as there are. And also we can add an action. So we can say what happens when the user clicks on this. We can either create a custom action and connect it to you can connect it to something you've coded, or you can connect it to another platform, or we can use one of the defaults. So we can reshuffle, we can send email, we can set columns, show a form, show a notification, we can navigate to new tabs, we can do lots of different things, delete row, copy to clipboard. There's lots of different things we can do. And so what we want is show details. So as you can see, it says view details. That means when we click on it, it opens a details screen. The details screen is probably the most flexible screen that you can customize. And you will see why in a minute. What we chose here is the card screen. And this is relatively limiting compared to the detail screen, but you can see the detail screen right here. On the detail screen, and this takes us to a detail screen, it allows us to make some adjustments here. So if I remove all of these defaults, now I can begin to add, by clicking the plus button, a number of components. So I can add charts, progress bars, I can add buttons, buy buttons, check boxes, I can allow people to favorite, I can add switches. There's lots of different things I can add. On this particular screen, what I'm going to add is text. I'm going to create a header. And I'm going to copy this. And this time I'm going to map the text data to description. I'm going to set it to regular. I'm going to click justify. And what I'm also going to do is use video. And this, it by default mapped to image, but that's not what we want. We want it to map to URL. And so now it's mapping directly to our video. Maybe I want to increase the spacing. So what I'm going to do is increase the spacing a little bit. And maybe I want to add comments and let people comment on this video. So the way I'll do that is add a comment section, and I will allow them to comment. You need, so for comments specifically, you need to map comments under a particular header. Only in here though, you don't need to do it in Glide. Glide creates its own comments tab that you will see in a minute. So if you want all the comments under this post to be unique to this post, what you would do is just map it to the title. We can also add rating. So I'm going to add rating and allow people to give this a certain amount of stars. So I use the picker and allow people to add a rating. And to add a rating, I do have to map it to a column. So I'll go back, I'll create a new column called rating. I'll go back and I will refresh my spreadsheet. It says it found new columns. And so if I actually go back, I can now map this to rating. I can map it by stars, hearts, money, time, pizzas. So now people can rate this video out of 5 and they can add comments. What we may also want people to do is to filter. So to allow people to filter this information by category, what I may do is go to options and use in-app filter, and I will allow them to filter by category. What you see is an icon pop up, and when you click on this now, it allows people to filter by category. Because we only have news as a category, we can only see news here. But as you see on our other app, if we go to videos, I have a couple categories, and you can filter by advice, lectures, and you can see advice. So we go back to our app. Maybe we also want users to add new videos. We can set permissions, and I'm not sure if we're gonna do permissions in this particular workshop, but you can allow only particular users to add videos if you want to do that. Like admin, if you only want admin to add videos, you can do that if you want. But we're gonna click allow users to add items, and what if we click on this? What actually happens? It creates a form. What we see is there is a problem with this default form. As you can see, it by default it created all text entry, but not all of this is text entry. We have an image here, we have a drop-down menu here. So what we actually have to do is change some of this. Remove this text entry, and we want to update our form to use an image picker. We do want to keep this as URL. We want to make all these values required. We want to change category to drop-down menu, but any drop-down menu we use, we need to give it a separate tab. So I might call this video categories. And I might say video categories as the header. And I might say news as one of the options. Now I can remove this. If I refresh my sheet, and we find the choice picker, what we have to do is do a source of the choices. Video categories is our source of the choices. And what we also have to tell it is where to send the choice data. And we want to send that to category. And we also want to make it required. You can either change it to a drop-down menu. You can either change it to a drop-down menu, or you can change it to like a bar. We're going to keep it as a drop-down menu. What you want to do lastly is tell it what to do once it's submitted, and you want it to add a new row. And when you say add a new row, it just allows you to map data again here. Some of these are inputs and some of these are not inputs. So rating is not a by default input. Everything else is an input that the user has to put in. And just making sure I have everything. URL, choice. Just refresh this. And I have to give it more than one choice. So I might say news or advice. refresh this again. And as you can see, with more than one choice, it allows us a drop-down menu, and you can see news and advice, and you can select that. Does anyone have any questions so far? If you don't have any questions, and I'll just check the chat really quick. Okay. If you don't have any questions, we'll keep going. So what else do I have in my other app? I have support. So I have a section, a map of organizations. Well, I only have one organization, but you would have a lot more organizations. So in your app, well, no matter what app you're making, this can be businesses or local businesses. It can be local farmers. It can be all different types of things. It can be local tutors. The sky's the limit of what you want to be on this map. We just want organizations that will support people with mental health issues on this map. To do this, on our sheet, what we actually created was, if I go to support, I created a separate tab for support, and I have title, description, URL, image, address, and email. So I'm going to use these same categories in the app we're making now. I'm going to create another tab called support, and I'm going to do the same thing. So you can use...
Excuse me.
Hello?
Excuse me, Mr. Norton.
Okay, we have questions. You can come off mute if you want to come off mute, or you can type the question. I don't know.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. You can ask your question.
Hello, Mr. Norton.
Can you hear me? You can ask your question. Okay. If you have any questions, type it in the chat, and then in a couple minutes, I will look back in the chat and answer your question.
Yeah, Mr. Norton, someone have a question. Yes, I can hear you. Hello, could you please go back? Okay.
If you don't have a question, then I will continue. If you have a question, just type it in the comments in the chat, and I'll answer the question. But we're going to continue. We was working on our map. What we was doing in our database is we created a support tab, or maybe we call this organizations. And we gave some header rows. You can add as many header rows as you want. You can add phone number. You can add type of business. You can add whatever you want here. What I'm also going to do to save time is copy the one that I've already done. So as you can see here, I have the name of the organization. I have a description of it. I have the organization's website. I have an image. I have the address, and I have the email. So what we want to do now is create a tab for this. So to create a new tab, I click tabs. I can now change the style to map. I need to change the source to, first I need to refresh. Then I need to change the source to organizations. And now it has mapped my organization. So if we zoom in, So as you can see, all we have to do is type in the address in our database and the maps does it itself. We're going to change this tab to organizations. We're going to change this icon to maybe help. Not sure. And we're going to add a similar feature. So we're going to allow people to add new organizations. When we click on this, let's put my laptop on charge. We have to change some of these defaults. We have to change email and we have to change image. So what we want to do is allow entry fields for email entry, and we want to allow an entry field for image picker for the image. We want to make all of these required. And we want to tell it what to do when they click add. So we want to add a new row when they click add. So now people can add new organizations. They can find organizations by clicking on the location or clicking. If you click this, it will take you to your actual location. And my settings are off right now for location, but it will take me to my location in the UK and find the organizations near me. You can click here and just see the organizations like this. We can also add in-app filter if we want. If we added a category, we can filter them by category. If I just say support, just for now, we're going to refresh this. It understands that there's new columns. If I go back to organization, click my inline list, I want to filter by category. And now it creates a filter by category. If I click support, it will only show me the organizations that fall under that category of support. So just looking at the time, okay. So we have about 20, 30 more minutes. So we'll work on a couple more features. So I've shown you videos. I've shown you how to add organizations. Let's see what else we have. We have user profiles in mind. So we're going to create user profiles next. And maybe we'll create a homepage. Oh, no, we're going to create the journal too. So we're going to do user profiles and create the journal. We're going to leave the homepage out. So to create user profiles, you need a tab for users. So I'm going to create a tab and call that users. And I'm going to create some initial fields, full name, profile picture, and email. So those are you can add as many tabs as you want, as many headers as you want. You could say permission level, you can say their favorite food, you can say their location. There's lots of different things you can add, but these are the minimum ones you need. I'm going to grab some of my details from my other app. And what I'm going to do is just paste some of my details. And I'm going to change that email. I'm going to change this to profile picture. So now we have the foundation of our users database set up. What we want to do is go back, and this time we want to go to settings. We want to go to privacy. We want to allow people to sign in publicly with an email, and we also want to allow sign in with Google Sheet. You can also limit access to emails in your sheet, and you can limit access by password, and you can also say that you're the only one that can sign in. What that's going to do is add a menu. If we click on the menu, we can see there's some user details here, but this isn't connected to a source yet. Thankfully, we've just created a new tab, and what we can actually do if we refresh, go over here, we can connect our users tab to our app. So now our app is picking up the users, and we can say name is full name, email is email, image is image. So what we want to do to create our profile tab is we want to make a new page. We want to connect this to users. And right now, this is going to show us all the users, but we don't want to show an individual user all the users. We just want to show them their own profile. So if I just change the label and I change the icon, we just want to show, sorry, we just want to show the user their own profile. So to do that, and I just show you what it looks like if they can see more than their profile. So if I refresh this, now we have 2 items in our users database. It will show 2 items, but I only want to show the user their own profile. The way I do this is I go to option or go to the inline list, and I want to filter what can actually be seen. The way I filter what can be seen is I add a filter. It says limit items displayed based on their properties. I just click OK. And I have to say the email is the signed in user. So it's only going to show us this signed in user. There is a problem with the layout. I don't want the layout to be this inline list. I don't want it to be a list style. I want it to be a details style. So all I had to do is click on details, but now it's not going to show me anything because I haven't set up anything to be shown. So what I want to do is add the image, and it's still going to pull the data, the same data that was there before, to the image. I'm going to inset that, and I'm going to dress it up a little bit. I want my name. And right now, image is connected to email, which is wrong. Image should be connected to profile picture. I also want my email. So I want to connect that text to email. So now you can see this user, this signed in user's profile. What if you want them to allow? What if you want to allow them to change their image? All you have to do is go and allow users to edit, and they're only going to be able to edit their own information. I'm going to remove the defaults, and I'm going to allow them to upload the image. So I need the image picker. I'm going to say that's required. I'm going to map it to the right column. And that's it. So now I can actually change my image. If we do this live in real time, I can change my image. I go to Dominic Norton. I change my image to something else. I changed my profile image, but you can also see I changed my profile image here. So my profile image has been changed. The last thing we're going to do, just looking at the time, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to create a journal. So on mine, even though I have a couple tabs here, I have a tab in the menu called My Journal, and they are writing about their day. How was their mental health that day? All that is I created another tab called Journal, and I have title, description, date, and posted by. So I have these 4 tabs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy some data from my other app. And I'm only going to copy the title, description, and the date. So I copied the title, description, and date, and I also want to copy this too. I want to say it was posted by that account, and I'm going to create another account just to show you the difference. Let's just say hello world. This is my first journal entry. So what I'm actually doing is we're going to create a new tab, and we're going to call this My Journal. We want to map this to our journal tab. Oh, that was wrong. Changed the wrong tab. If I go back to videos, My Journal. Now I do like the list, but I want to change the list style. So I want to remove this image. And I also want to say I want to deselect show title when image is not available, because I don't have an image for this. So now I can see all the items, but I only want to show the items for that particular user. So we're going to do the similar thing. We're going to limit items based on their properties. We're going to click OK. And we're only going to say when posted by is the signed in user. As you see, one disappeared because the other one, the posted by, is not the signed in user's email. Just making sure everything is how we want it. So now we can open up the view details, and we have the view details, but it's not exactly how I want it to look. So I'm going to make some design adjustments again. I'm going to remove the email. I'm going to keep this date here, but I'm going to change the title or the formatting so it's a little bit different. And I'm going to map this to description. So now I have the title, the description, and the date. We can add images if we want to add images. You can add whatever you want. This is a mental health journal that we have created for this particular person. And lastly, maybe we want to add a way for them to delete this entry. So we're going to create a button. We're going to name it delete. We're going to change the action to allow them to delete that particular row, and it's going to delete this item. So when they click delete, it's going to delete that item if they want to delete it. We want to also lastly allow them to add new journal entries. The way we'll do this, again, is click inline list, allow users to add items. When we click this, we can adjust some of these entries. So we know title is a text entry, we know description's a text entry, but date is a date entry, and we don't want posted by there. So date and time, or maybe we just have date. So now the user can select a date, or maybe we don't have date, and you'll see why in a minute. So when we click on submit, we want to create a new role, and we want to say the title is the title they put there, description's the description they put there, but we want date to be current date and time, and we want posted by to be this user's email. So now, if I say something like, this is a great workshop, I am really happy, and I add this, what you will see is this added to the database here, but if we go in the back end, you can see it's being added to this database. And if we click, we can see the format has been maintained. We may want to reformat some of these cells on here. So it looks like that. Let's look at the time. We're coming up to time. So we implemented a lot of the core features that was in the app I showed you at the beginning. Not all the features are there. As you can see, I've added a homepage on this app, and that's it. I think all the other ones we've pretty much done except the homepage. And this is our app. So now we want to publish this. All we have to do to publish it is click the settings. We can change the appearance. We can change the accent color. We can change it to dark mode. We can change it to all black like that. We can say to match the device's theme. We can change the font. We can change the tab info. And we can either upload an image or use an icon that's default. Let's go ahead and try upload. Using the free plan, you can't enable tablet mode. It's still accessible on tablets, but it looks like this. Privacy, we already went off that. We already did that. If we go to sign in screen, if you have a premium account, you can upload a background, on the sign-in screen. You can upload your logo right here. You can make some simple adjustments. What we're going to do next is just publish it. So I click publish, publish app, and now I can change the URL to mental health app, copy this, and it's live now. This is a progressive web app. So no, you cannot post this in the Google Play Store. You cannot post this in the App Store. All you need to do is have this URL and they can visit this. You can visit this now. And when you actually visit this on the mobile phone, it looks like a regular app. You can save the shortcut to your homepage on your phone like a regular app. I'm not sure. Okay, you want the invite link to the same app we're building. So I'll send you the first app. So this was the app we just built, and I'll send the link to the original app that I built, so you can play around with some of the with the additional features that I added. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Now's the time to really ask questions. If you have any, I will stop presenting and go ahead. Just shoot away with any questions you have. Yeah, but it's Google spreadsheet. So I think you probably already have organizations running their operations through Google already. Over here, we have $1 million companies using Google to run their operations. It's not just any spreadsheet. You're running it in Google. So anything that we would have built in Firebase or anything like that, it's still the same Google servers. Obviously, there's different. You can probably add increased flexibility when it comes to security if you built a coded app. But but yeah, this is Google, so it's like if there's a problem with the spreadsheet, you really have a problem with Google, which is a different issue. Um, so some of the tools. So I go back to some of the slides that I had. You have all different kinds of tools. You have, and we might have time to bring some of them up. I like Bubble. So Bubble allows you to build a lot more complex web apps. You can connect a lot of APIs. It's a lot more flexible on the UI. Let me just sign up. You can rebuild Facebook. You can rebuild Twitter. You can rebuild Dropbox. You can rebuild a lot of companies, Yelp, using Bubble, and you're still not coding. You're just managing workflows. You create the workflow logic. You can even connect another tool that handles your database. You don't have to use the Bubble database. So what people there's a lot of people making fintech platforms using this. So you can get really robust applications with Bubble. That's a platform worth checking out. Ardalo is another one. Oh, you can't even see my screen. Okay, hold on. I'll present again. So I'll go over Bubble after Adalo, but I thought you can see my screen. Let me share my screen again. So I believe you can see my screen now. So this is how you can create native applications without coding. Again, people are making a lot of really interesting applications. You can see people are making food delivery apps. People are making social media platforms. People are making deal platforms. People are making market for developers and lots and lots of different kinds of things. You can either build from scratch or use the templates. People are making appointments apps, ordering, coaching, Facebook, real estate apps, blogging apps, e-commerce, directories. This you can actually put in the App Store and the Google Play Store. Again, your database can be hosted anywhere you want to host your database. I go back to Bubble because Bubble's pretty good. Just check if anyone's writing anything. What's your advice as getting someone with code? It's not easy to get. I don't know. What's your take? So I'm going to answer that question just after I show you Bubble. So Bubble's really good. Like I said, people are creating fintech applications. People are creating rideshare applications. A lot. It's probably when it comes to no code, this is probably the most flexible platform there is. But there is a bigger learning curve. So what I just showed you in Glide is easy to show you in an hour. A lot of the features. In Bubble, it would be a lot harder for me to show you that in 1 hour in a way that you can actually build something after I've shown you. So to answer the question, what's your advice to somebody getting started with code? I mean, it's really easy. I mean, this is really easy and could be a better option to writing code and all. What's your take? So I am a maker. So I come from a background of actually writing code. But when it comes to my own ideas, sometimes code takes too long. Maybe I want to create a directory app. I'll show you an app I made. An app I made like 2 days ago. It took me a couple hours to make this from idea to actually a working application. You could find all the missing, but this is focused on the UK. But people are posting the black people are being kidnapped, black people that are gone missing, and this is an app this is a website that I made with no code. Again, I made this using no code. This is something I've made in like 2 hours. To do something with code, doing that, it would have took me a lot longer. I would have achieved it, but it just would have took me longer. And sometimes when you're developing your ideas, you're not sure if people will like it or not. So you don't want to take a month to make it. You want to make something quick and get feedback. Now, the other part to that, right? The other part to that is that right now, no code is still very early. There's companies that are hiring for no code and automation specialists now, but these are some of the top companies. This is good to know and it's good to practice. Probably in about we're in 2021 now. It'll probably peak in about 4 years, but this is really early right now, and it's in its infancy stage. But companies are waking up to this is a lot better way than hiring developers for a lot of stuff. Developers are good for a lot of things, but it takes time and it's expensive, especially for big corporations that just want to try stuff out and they want to move a lot quicker. I would actually tell you learn both. Like I know both. there's actually a space called low code. So low code, and I will pull a website up. Low code is the combination of no code tools with a little bit of coding. I think that's the most powerful space because the coding allows the flexibility, but the no code allows you to rapidly ship and focus on, does this actually bring value to people? So this is a website called Autocode, and it allows you to create bots for Slack and Twitch and different platforms. It allows you to create bots, but you have to do very, very little code. There is coding involved, but not that much. As you can see, there's coding involved, but not that much. And it allows you to connect to all these different types of apps that are, especially here in the UK and US, that are really big. I go back and find you. I'll show you one more platform. I can't hear you. I'll show you one more platform that's interesting. So I'll show you two more actually. So no code, even though I focused on apps, you have different tools that are doing different stuff in the no code space. So this is for you to launch voice applications without coding. All you have to do is drag and drop. It's called VoiceFlow. It's a visual interface, and all you have to do is drag and drop and say, after this, this happens, after this happens, and you can submit to Alexa, you can turn it into a chatbot, you can use it for a mobile app, you can use it for a car assistant. There's lots of things you can do, but this is voice driven. There's, if I go to, if I open ChatFuel, ChatFuel focuses on chatbots. So again, you don't need to code. You can create chatbots for businesses, which connect to Facebook, which connect to WhatsApp, which connect to a lot of different things, again, without coding. These are chatbots. And you can either build off the templates or you can build from scratch. If you're interested in making games, there's no code tools that allows you to build games without coding. So I'll just show you that. So all you have to do with some of these is just build the logic. So BuildBox is a tool, and there's lots of different alternatives to the ones I'm showing you, but it allows you to create mobile games, 2D and 3D games without coding. And it gives you templates, and sometimes all you have to do is build off the template. Again, really worth visiting, and I'll show you one more because this is one of my favorites. If you use Instagram, if you use Snapchat, and you use filters, you can create filters and augmented reality experiences, again, without coding. So to create filters for Snapchat, you have to use Lens Studio. And you can create these amazing augmented reality experiences without coding. You can create this amazing logic without coding. A lot of it is visual editors. So it's drag and drop. Like you can see here, all you have to do is change the settings. You don't have to code anything. It doesn't mean coding isn't good. It is good. I'm a developer, so I'm pro coding, but I'm also about cost efficiency. I'm about time and doing what's the easiest first to prove that I'm not wasting my time. One of the question I would like to know if we can use the same software to code desktop applications. I'm not sure of any platform right now that you can create desktop applications without coding. Off the top of my head, I'm sure you can find some, but off the top of my head, I don't know any. I will do a search. Let me copy your name. I will do a search and get back to you if I have any notes on desktop applications where you can do this. Can I share my socials and email? Yeah, definitely. I share my socials and email, and I also share the slides that I used. I will upload this video to YouTube, and you can access this video on YouTube. So the opportunity is out there for you to build without knowing how to code. And again, it doesn't mean you don't learn how to code. I think it's really, really powerful learning how to code. But you want to increase as many tools in your tool set that you know how to use. So some clients might, if you're doing freelance like I'm doing freelance, some clients may be paying a little bit less. So I wouldn't code something. I would use a no code builder. I would use something like if they want a website, a business that doesn't have much money, and, or maybe a charity. I do a lot of works with charity. I might use Webflow, and it allows you to create amazing websites without coding. Oh, I don't want to log in. Um, let's see if I can show you any templates. Okay, perfect. Yep. Webflow allows you to create amazing websites without coding. It's again another platform that's worth checking out. If a client's not paying as much, I will probably use this. If a client's paying more, I might spend the time coding because they're paying for it. Does anyone have any final questions? I'm going to share this presentation with you. It also has my details on here.